Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Tony PTCG here. Today we got a little tabletop match for you guys. I am testing out this Nuzzle deck that was brought up by Wuzzy from PTCG Radio. I watch him very often, and he pointed out that this little Nuzzle kind of rogue deck that may have some potential, where basically you are able to accelerate 5 energies on your first turn. I thought that this was a pretty interesting idea, seeing as that Lightning has so much support right now, so many good Pokemon. I wanted to test out something myself while I don't have Jirachis or other Pikarams available to me right now because they are pretty expensive. Plus, I like testing out these little rogue decks and stuff like that too. So you're going to see me in this first game right here trying to use the strategy of setting up a 6 energy turn 1 going second using Pachirisu and Nuzzle Pokemon. I am playing against a local senior. He's using a Charizard deck, and yeah, the Charizard with the Burning Blaze ability or something like that. It is a pretty good deck, pretty good little rogue deck. You know, it's not a top tier deck, I would say. Obviously, I'm not playing a top tier deck also, so I thought this would be a pretty good matchup to go through here. So I'm starting out with the Pikachu right here, and my opponent is going first. He's starting out with a Ponyta. The Pikachu that I'm playing is the promo Pikachu that just came out in the new team up set. It is Pikachu with Nuzzle, so obviously you want to use this one because the Pachirisu attack that you want to use is one that attaches lightning energies from your deck onto your Pokemon on the bench that have the Nuzzle attack. And of course, you can get the Emolga out, so there is some synergy with that right there. And the kind of Pokemon search engine that I'm using is the Pokecom. I'm sorry that there's a little glare on all these cards right here, but so the Pokecom actually helps you out, and you could just put one Pokemon back and basically search for free. You're always going to have the potential to search any Nuzzle Pokemon from your deck because of your Emolgas with your Nuzzle gathering abilities. Your Nuzzle gathering abilities, they'll search out any Pokemon, and then if you have a Pokemon in hand, you can get any other Pokemon from your deck and potentially be able to use them. I also like to use it to thin out my deck as well. If I know that I will be like, if I want to draw into something next turn, I could just use that and limit my options, you know, so that way I don't draw into a Pokemon that I don't want. So right here, I'm Cynthiaing right now. What my goal is for this turn, since I'm going turn 2, is actually try to get the Pachirisu in the active spot and attach the 5 energies to my bench. So I had used Nuzzle, the Nuzzle Gathering, to get 4 Emolgas onto my bench and search for a Pachirisu with the 4th Emolga. 4th Emolga's Nuzzle Gathering. I was contemplating attaching an energy either to my active or to my Pachirisu. I ended up going with the Pachirisu, but the problem that I had with this turn was that I was not able to get Pikachu out of my active. A good thing about this deck is because Emolga has free retreat, he's one of your best Pokemon to start with because he's able to get all your other Pokemon out of the deck. And just you're able to retreat and then go into a Pachirisu, and you're able to attach those 5 energies. So you'll have 6 energies on board, hopefully turn 2. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that, and I think that's one of the big things of this deck too, where if you don't start with those Pokemon, if you don't start with an Emolga, it's hard to retreat out of. There's not really a lot of good like turn 2 attackers that you will have in here, so that's maybe something to consider. You know, maybe you want to throw in a Zapdos in here to get a nice turn 2 attack, but again, that limits your energy acceleration potential with turn 2 as well, so it's hard to say. I will try to get the strategy going. I have been play testing this online as well, and there's been some success with getting the strategy going here. But yeah, if you get stuck in a bad spot, it may be hard to get out of. But of course, this is a rogue deck. It's not the most consistent thing. I just like playing it and trying to find the best way to build this deck is what is really interesting to me. So my opponent hit me with the Rapidash, 20 damage and a burn. So now I have 40 damage on my Pikachu. I'm looking to get him out of the active this turn too. I Ultra Balled away some stuff, got myself a Raichu, and I didn't really want to evolve into Raichu this turn. I just wanted to get him out of my deck and get some energies in the discard pile or whatever I put in the discard pile there. And then I would retreat out of that and then get Pachirisu. I'm using Emolga's ability right here to thin out my deck again. And I like this engine here because I'm able to just get the non-necessary pieces out of my deck. And also by thinning 6 energies from my deck potentially so early, also makes the deck a lot more consistent as well. So yeah, I was able to retreat here using a Guzma, bringing up his Ponyta on the bench, and I'm using the Pachirisu's Snuggly generator here to get 5 energies onto my guys. And now I have a pretty good board state here as far as I am concerned. I was able to do what I wanted to do turn 2, but yeah, it might have been a little too late, as you shall see. So yeah, another thing, a reason why that you want to get this pretty much as soon as possible is because you're putting your vulnerable Pachirisu in the active spot and using that attack to, essentially end your turn. So your opponent could come back on their turn too and get a knockout, which sometimes I'm not really too concerned about. This deck, I know I kind of know the deck list that he's playing, so I was kind of not concerned with getting knocked out turn 2. So I was kind of feeling safe where I could put those 5 energies again. That grass energy that you see in there, just really quick tidbit, is actually a Volkner proxy. I don't have full Volkner in here, but I play 4 Volkner in the deck. I would like to play 4 Volkner in the deck, is what I've been testing. So yeah, and right here, I kind of make a huge mistake. And I decide that I want to attach more energies of the with a Snuggly generator, because I thought I could by myself. I thought I would have enough time. My opponent wouldn't be able to retaliate very well with this, and I was just looking to sack the Pachirisu. A big factor that played into that was him playing agility and getting head, so I couldn't do damage to him. I had no other way to damage him, and yeah, so basically I thought it would be a good idea to just thin the rest of the energies out of my deck, but obviously it comes to bite me in the tail towards the end of the game because I essentially took all the energies out of my deck and I wasn't able to find them and use them later in the game. So if you are trying to play this deck around, I would suggest, play smart with your energies, because the list that I play 11 energies, and maybe I want to bump that up to some more. And I definitely think that a second Snuggly generator was not needed here, looking at that in hindsight here. So yeah, the thing about it was that I play 2 energy switch as well, so I can kind of get myself out of some situations, get the energy off of the Emolgas that really do not use it because they do not have a very good attack. They basically just have that Nuzzle attack, which does no damage and only has a potential to paralyze the opponent. So yeah, I was just looking to sack this. It wasn't the smartest play in hindsight, but now I'm learning. I'm basically learning how to play this deck still, and you guys are watching my learning process. I still decided to show this video to you guys because I think that I show some very interesting techs that you can do with this deck, because I play a lot of the lightning techs that make lightning such a strong archetype in the current format, in the current standard format. So I get a Pikachu and Zekrom. I have one copy of Pikachu and Zekrom in here, and I was looking to basically energy switch onto him to be able to attack. I think he was one of my best options to attack because my Pikachu, while it does a lot of damage potentially, can get knocked out pretty easily by his Charizards there. So right now I'm kind of like hoping to set up this guy. I retreat the Emolga, and my opponent did whiff his agility last turn, so I am just looking to take a knockout and take a prize, so I can keep a good trade. I do not see any other Charizards or whatever, but I should have been aware of that as well, because Charizard can take one-hit KOs if he is built up enough. And as you see, my opponent, because I started so slowly, he was able to manually attach energies onto his Charmanders and Charmeleons and still be able to use Charizard's ability to attach more energies and do 150 plus 30, 170 damage on my dude with 40 already on him. So, yeah. And there goes my Raichu. My opponent takes 2 prizes. It was a tough matchup, to be honest, because my opponent does not play any GX Pokemon, and I was forced to take knockouts with only 2 prize Pokemon. Again, another problem of this deck could be that there is not a good 1 prize non-GX attacker. So that may be something you want to look out for if you're trying to build this deck as well. I'm going to have a deck profile of this coming up in a separate video so you guys can see what I am playing with, and I'll kind of give some suggestions of maybe what didn't work out so well and maybe what could change. Like I said, this is just a working list. It is pretty much like my first draft of the list that I was playtesting here. So right now I am a little stuck here. Like I said earlier, I got a lot of my energies out of my deck and I wasn't able to draw into them again. Usually the Vulcaners are able to help with that, but I didn't really have any in my hand as well. And I didn't have any other energy switch as well. What I like about this deck is one strategy I can use is to get Vulcaner to get an energy and an energy switch, and it just takes a maybe a previous manual attachment or a Tapu Koko to charge up a good attacker like the Pikachu and Zekrom. I only have one Pikachu and Zekrom in here because I just own one. And he is such a strong lightning attacker that it is, he could be teched into a deck lightning deck if you really want him to. But I try to use Raichu as my main attacker here. But yeah, I was forced to only play this Emolga and use his Nuzzle attack to try and paralyze my opponent, try and slow him down so that way I can maybe draw into some more energies here. Another thing about this deck is it's hard because you want as many Nuzzle Pokemon on your bench to try and accelerate early, but also you kind of immediately limit your bench space in that way, so you're not able to maybe get a Tapu Koko, which another mistake I made was, probably playing down that Pikachu while not playing the Tapu Koko Prism Star, which would be able to accelerate energies as well. So yeah, I am still learning to play around some certain decks and trying to learn what options are available to me. You don't really have to play 5 Pokemon on your bench, turn 2, if you don't really need to, which I guess I didn't really need to, and I could leave space open for the Tapu Koko Prism Star that I have in here, or the Tapu Koko GX, which I also play in here, or even a Lele for a supporter would have been helpful as well. So my opponent takes another big knockout here, going down to 2 prizes, and I am just in a bad spot right now because he is able to have 2 Charizards out, one with 2 energies on him already. So that is big damage potential from him. And basically, my only attacker that was available to me right now was either getting my Pikarom charged up, which I would need an energy switch and a Thunder Mountain Prism Star, which I was not able to find, or getting a Tapu Koko GX, which is, what I ended up doing here. But of course, my opponent was able to retaliate immediately with his other Charizard there, and was able to clean the game up on 2 prizes there. So yeah, your attacker options, maybe need to be a little more diverse. I feel like they're pretty diverse the way that I have it set up in this deck so far, because against other decks that are maybe more in the meta, with ones that are able to have a lot of energies on board at once, the Tapu Koko GX attack is actually really, really, really good. He doesn't have a bad Sky High Claws, with 130 damage, being able to knock out a lot of non-GX Pokemon here, which I was able to use here. But yeah, it just was not enough. I was only able to go down to 4 prizes here. That prize trade was not very favorable for me in this matchup. But I feel like this deck is, still regardless, pretty fun and pretty consistent. Well, I wouldn't say it's the most consistent, obviously, as you see. If you misplay like I did, then you might have trouble finding stuff. But I like the engine that I'm playing around with here, with using Volkner and stuff like that. Maybe my supporter counts are a little weird. I have 2 Ericas, 4 Cynthias, 4 Lilies, I believe, and 2 Guzma, and 4 Volkner. I really like relying off of Cynthia and Volkner. Maybe the Ericas and the Lilies aren't the best because they don't synergize very well with my kind of strategy of being able to thin out my deck so easily with Nuzzle and the energies. I kind of find myself with bigger hand sizes, and I'm not able to really use Ericas all that much. And I just a turn 1 Lily is obviously very good, but still my hand size, I'm not really able to pare it down that much because I don't really have that many discard cards. I really only have 2 Ultra Ball in here, and that's basically to kind of ship energy if I need to, if I'm in a good spot, so that way I can get a Tapu Koko to charge up a Pokemon pretty fast. But yeah, we're going into game 2 here. This game is pretty quick, and I kind of go for a different strategy here. Now that I know that I can choose if I want to go first or second, I decide to go first. And basically my strategy here is to be able to charge up a Pikarom turn 2 and take a good knockout and accelerate energy as well. Which I like the Pikarom option, obviously, because it's kind of the same as getting your Pachirisu going. It's a big liability to start with the 3 prize attacker too, though. But you're still getting pretty much 6 energy on board, and you're able to hit big numbers eventually with your Pikachu, your Raichu-GX, sorry. Right now, I get my good start here. I get my Emolga, which is probably one of the best starters you can get in this deck, as I'm able to search for any other Pokemon, and I could basically search for an Emolga and then Pokecom, and like I just did there, putting another Pokemon into my deck, while I'm able to get a Pokemon that I actually need, like the Pikarom that I wanted. So yeah, put my mans out right here. And I'm nuzzling for some more Pokemon as well, getting 2 Emolga down and a little Pikachu promo there. And yeah, I didn't really need to use the Emolgas, I guess, but I wanted to have that option open to me, in case I wanted to use the Pachirisu strategy again. But yeah, my opponent has kind of a weak start here, He has 2 Charmanders on the board, and I'm going to pass it over to him pretty soon and see what I can do. But I kept this little clip, even though it was a shorter game. I just wanted to showcase another potential strategy that you can use to accelerate your energies onto your board as well. So yeah, I am again shipping the Ultra Ball. I like this play a lot. It's a very strong play in any lightning deck. Getting rid of those energies and using Tapu Koko immediately to attach those other energies on there. I shipped 1 energy to the discard and was able to attach 1. So that way, next turn, all it would take was a manual attachment onto my Pikarom to be able to hit for 150 and accelerate 3 energy onto my board. It's very strong. Just such a strong attack, really. And I am able to Pokecom a Tapu Lele here and get another Pokemon onto my board. And I believe I grab a Raichu there. My opponent wasn't able to do much. He only got the 1 energy attachment there. And I Pokecommed for that Raichu and used another Nuzzle Gathering to try to set up another Pikachu here. That is a Volkner that I'm using. The Grass Energy, like I said, is a proxy for the Volkner. And I'm able to search my deck for a item card and another energy there. I'm grabbing another Pokecom, setting myself up for next turn, which I think is a pretty good play you can use. Of course, the Volkners are strong because you can grab those Electro Chargers as well. And you're also grabbing yourself an energy, which I needed to use the manual attachment, and I used the Full Blitz there. And I was able to attach 3 lightning energy onto my Raichu right here. The Raichu really only needs 2 if you're going to be using that first attack that does 20 damage times. It does 20 plus 20 for every energy that you have on board, because I should have said that earlier, but yeah, you've seen the card when I put it up there. And yeah, now he is fully charged up. He's even able to use his GX attack, and my opponent was not able to respond. He knew that he didn't have any other basics in his hand, and he was just going to be knocked out next turn, ending the game. But yeah, I want to thank you guys a lot for watching. Stay tuned for the deck profile that I'm going to be having up, and yeah, let me know how you guys like the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and have a nice discussion in the chat. Thank you very much, guys.